Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. It's already old news, but yesterday, 5 minutes before 11 p.m. Italian time, here we go. Francisco Conceicao is permanently a Juve player according to Fabrizio Romano and all the other journalists, especially the ones that are taking care of our beloved Juventus. Beautiful news, yes, because we were all expecting it, but then we were able to read a bit the details that were not at least at that moment complete, and that's where the controversy starts. How on earth is it possible that Juventus, that they have a clause of 30 million euro, are able to pay more than the actual clause instead of going lower, which actually the papers, the journalists, and even you, Beppe, were telling us since already a month. So I have more details, and I'm not sure if you will be happy about the details. Then an update about Mbangula and Germany, about WEA in France, what about Nico Gonzalez in Saudi Arabia, what about Franck Kessié, and much more in today's video. So don't forget to put a maximum of likes, don't forget to subscribe, and for people that are living in a country where it's already able to, hype the video. It's working really well. So now we start with yesterday, 5 minutes before 11 p.m. Fabrizio Romano telling us there was an agreement finally between the Portuguese club and the Italian club for Francisco Conceicao. And the extra details that he gave yesterday was that the deal is actually exceeding the 30 million euro, but with a slightly important difference. It will be payable in 4 years, so in 4 installments instead of going immediately cash with the 30 million. Now, after we went live yesterday, he even gave a bit more information telling us that when will it be a green light, when will it be possible to actually communicate about it. That could be today, could be tomorrow, from the moment that Francisco Conceicao is officially with a formal confirmation telling I give up on the 20% of the deal, because that 30 million euro clause, there were 20% that were actually owned by Francisco and his entourage. Now there are two versions: the beautiful princess world, unicorn world, the beautiful pink world of Fabrizio Romano that is describing us, telling us that the player will refuse, that the player will give up on the 20%, which would be beautiful, because if you are counting 32 million euro minus 20%, you need to take off a bit more than 6 million euro, which we go towards what we were always telling you, that Juventus wanted to deal for, or to find a deal that was less than the 30 million euro, going towards a 25, 24 million euro. So we would arrive 32 minus 6, we arrive towards 26 million euro, which is less. So at least the story works absolutely perfectly. And that's one story. Can we blame Juve there? No, because it's a fantastic deal. You don't pay immediately. No, first of all, you have the player that is permanently your player, 1. 2, you don't have to pay cash immediately. 3, with the 20% that are given up by Francisco, you actually pay less than the 30 million that were agreed on 1 year ago, and that's fantastic. But there is another story that I heard, so I don't know which one is true, but the other story is that Francisco would not say, I give up on the 20% that I own, I don't want them, I don't care about them, but actually that he would say, we find a deal a la Porto, which means that money is owned by me, so in a way you need to give it to me. But I can find a deal with you so that we find also a way to pay it in 4 years. If we go towards a 30 million euro clause, divided actually by our taking off 20%, we go towards that 6 million euro. 6 million euro that you divide on 4 years in terms of salary, you go towards a 1.5 more. So that could be possibly that alternative that Francisco is saying, it's 20%, don't pay them immediately, but instead of offering me a contract of 2 million euro net salary, well, calculate that 20% dividing by 4. So it's 1.5 more per year, so which means that I will earn between the 3.5 and 4 million euro net on salary. That could be actually the alternative. So I hope A, but I don't believe it, honestly. But I think it will be B, which would be, in a way, a beautiful effort from Francisco Conceicao to say, look, I don't need them immediately, give them, but it would actually change a bit the narrative that Francisco is saying, I give up on them. It is still a beautiful deal. Look, can you find me, like yesterday we were speaking about in the live, a player for 30 million euro? If you want to calculate what we already paid last year without including the salary, let's say, 35 million euro. Can you find me a player for 35 million euro that you already tested, that you know what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, that can dribble the man, that can create superiority, that is a player that can play from the start of the game, that can enter the game and being decisive, with that grinta, with that will, being appreciated by the entire team of Juve, being also able to convince and the coach and the management. It's tough. It's extremely tough, especially because it's a young player that still has margin to improve. I don't think that he will improve to reach 100 million euro status. I don't think that. I hope so, but I don't think so. But it will be tough. And Juventus is able, by the fact that they are actually paying it in 4 years, that we were speaking about salary and clothes, etc., to save some money to invest on other targets that we'll speak about in a second. Now, that was the big part about Francisco Conceicao, and I think that you appreciate the extra detail that I'm telling you. Now, today, Sasha Tavalieri, but also other people from Italy are saying that Mbangula is extremely close to reach an agreement with Werder Bremen. Actually, according to Sasha, it's already a done deal between club and player for a 5-year contract. Could be a 4+1. But now they need an agreement with Juventus Football Club. There are a lot of clubs interested in Mbangula. There was Bologna, even if it's a bit more distance. There are 3 clubs from Germany, Werder Bremen, but also Wolfsburg and another club. There are some clubs from Premier League as well. There is Strasbourg, there is Brentford. So there are a lot of clubs interested in him. They made a first offer of 8 million euro, which Juve said, no, we want something between the 10 and the 12 million. If you're looking at Italian sources, a Comando, for example, is saying that Juventus is expecting 15 million euro. I always told you here that I don't believe that Mbangula is a player at today that has a value of 35-40 million euro. It's less than that according to me. But 8 million euro, I told you, it's an insult. No, on the other side, here I want to blame Juve, because if you publicly treat Mbangula of taking him off from the bench against Manchester City, so not even calling him up for that game, then putting him again, making it sure that he is on the market, that you already found a deal for 8 million euro with Nottingham Forest, then okay, you cannot expect any club on the world to say, oh, you want it and you were ready to accept 8 million euro, we will give you 35 million euro for that player. It doesn't work like that. So on that one, you have to blame the bad management in terms of communication and dealing with the transfer of Mbangula, that is at the moment not happy. Then, can we accept 10 million? Can we accept 12 million? The best solution, according to me, would be a loan with an option to buy at already certain figures. Option to buy, because I'm sure that with a starting status in Germany, for example, at Werder Bremen, the player can even develop more and reaching that value of 20-25 million euro. So I would do that, but I don't think that Juventus is able to do it because they want to cash in and they are a bit pressed. They are a bit in a rush. If we reach 12 million euro, I tell you, after the disaster communication we did on the Belgian player, it would already be beautiful. But I tell you, beautiful, not according to Beppe. I would not be happy. It's a player that everything less than 15 in the situation is, according to me, something that we are just giving away. It's stupid. It's stupid, and it's really a pity for Sam Mbangula. But anyway, it is the reality. Although on the other side, I'm also blaming Juve if they accept what I'm reading today from Fabrizio Romano, to be ready to give Weah on loan to Paris Saint-Germain with a clause that could become mandatory, because if you need cash, and if you are speaking about a player that, I don't know, is worth at the moment 60 million euro, and that the club is making an offer, they are doubting because the season was not great, and you can go with an obligation to buy, you know that money will come in, but you just give actually time for that club to accept the player, to make sure that the player is in the club, etc. When we are speaking about 15 million euro, because that's what we are speaking about for Timothy Weah to Marseille, well, I would love that at a certain moment Juventus said, oh guys, it's 15. We are not speaking about 100 million euro. It's 15. Show me the money. Show me the money today. Look, he wants to go to Marseille. Marseille wants the player. They are looking for a formula that could be a loan with an obligation to buy. I'm really curious to see what the figures will be there, because Fabrizio is not speaking about it, but I'm curious. Even if Mbangula will leave and Conceicao is now permanently a Juve player, not announced yet, but could arrive in the next few hours. Well, there is a player that is closer and closer to Juve, and we are speaking about Sancho. I don't want to repeat all the things. Juventus is apparently finding an agreement with the player, or found an agreement with the player, now negotiating with United. The only thing that they are waiting for is actually the green light of Nico Gonzalez, that was totally close to speak about Saudi Arabia a few days ago, and now is open to take it into consideration, knowing that he will earn much more, that he has a starting spot, that he will play the entirety of the season, actually putting him in the spotlight to be qualified or called up for the World Cup in 2026, something that he doesn't want to miss, because we know it. He missed Qatar 2022 because of an injury a few days before traveling to the World Cup, and he doesn't want to miss it. Again, respectable from Nico, that says, I don't want to disturb anybody. I repeat it already, so beautiful. Could be Al Ali from Saudi Arabia. And then on the other side, if one player is going out and could go there, well, there could be a player from that club that comes to Juve, even if they are separated deal. We are speaking about Franck Kessié, the first one to break the news, and the name was Monblano, the day after, reported by Calcio Mercato, by La Stampa. Today is finishing on Tutto Sport, because it's a reality. It's not just a name, it's a reality that Juventus have already spoken to the player. According to some sources, they even have the yes of the player. 28 years old. This season he didn't score too much, but if you're looking at the minutes played with the warm temperature, it's 3,700 minutes in total in all competitions, that are even a bit more than, for example, Kenan Yildiz, 200 minutes more. So it's not a player that is in a retirement. You will tell me it's not the same level of competition, maybe, but playing with that temperature, with that climate, 3,700 minutes, it means that the player is physically okay, that he can still give. The first year he scored 10 goals, last year in all competition 4 goals and 5 assists. I tell you, it's the cheap option that I would not say no to, especially if we tell me that for Hjulmand the problems are already starting, because there is a clause of 80 million that he is in dispute with. There is the war between Hjulmand and Sporting. If we see how difficult it was to speak with Porto, if we see how difficult it was for Gyökeres to leave Sporting to go to Arsenal, which is still not a done deal, by the way, I would not lose time, because apparently if they say, if you don't want to pay the clause, we can start sitting at the table starting at 60 million euro, which are way too much money for the Danish player. Way too much money, according to me. Even if he believes that for 30 million euro, 40 million euro, he could leave the club, I don't believe in it, and I don't want to spend an entire summer waiting for a midfielder that we really need, especially if we know that Douglas Luiz is leaving. What about Teun Koopmeiners? Well, Nico Schira reported there was an interest from a foreign club, but he said it clearly. Look, I want to redeem myself. After a really disappointing year, he is absolutely aware of the year that was not beautiful at all. Then if you tell me Douglas Luiz is leaving and we are able to sell him, Koopmeiners is leaving and we are able to sell him, and we are cashing in there, then I tell you, maybe you can increase the offer for a Hjulmand, for example, but at the moment I don't see it. Yesterday was not only Conceicao Day with an official news, but it was also the day of François Modesto that we saw officialized by the club, but also starting immediately to work. I loved the words of Damien Comolli that said, look, what will be his role? He will coordinate the technical area, which means match analysis, medical departments, performance and psychology, as well as the Igor Tudor staff. And that's an important one, super important one, because actually this is what I tell you since the press conference of Damien Comolli. It actually reassured me that I understood extremely well what the role of the technical director is. And then other words, helping to strengthen the club's sporting identity. Continuing with saying, we believe that with his knowledge, with his experience, he can have an immediate and lasting contribution to Juventus' growth. When we are speaking about immediate, this is what we are going for. Scanavino, Comolli, and now the word of Comolli about the role of technical director, immediate result, but also what I told you in the video of Modesto, when I told you wherever he has gone, well, the people, they adopted his way of working and they are still working with that even if he left. So a lasting contribution to Juventus' growth. What did he say? Well, beautiful words, saying I'm thrilled to begin this new journey working closely with Damien, but also with the coach Igor Tudor and the entire staff to build an ambitious, modern and successful project. It's a huge big honor to be in a prestigious club like Juve with I know that I have honor and great responsibility. I always loved the fact that Juventus has an extraordinary history and a winning culture that I deeply admire. I love the fact that we are also keeping our promises, because you remember that Igor Tudor said, if I stay, I want a permanent contract and an extension of the contract, but I also want to extend a bit my staff. Well, who is arriving? Troiano, that is actually one that already knows the Juve world, because he was there with the next gen with us. He was the fuori quota, you know that we can have 3 players over 23. Well, he was one of them a few seasons ago. Then he stopped last summer his career, not with the next gen, but with another club, before going to Modena as vice coach, and now he will integrate the staff of Igor Tudor. I finish with the last news. On the 13th of August, if you're in the neighborhood of Torino, don't miss Juventus against Juventus Next Gen, the family game that will be held in the Allianz Stadium at 6:30 p.m. Italian time. Be there, because these ones are always beautiful, and usually you also have the ability at the end of the game to enter the field, which is always nice, asking some autograph, etc, etc. If you didn't yet, please put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. Grazie, forza, Juve.